This channel and video is sponsored by Ratchet Clothing. I'll put a link below to their website. Hurry up and get those Christmas orders in. The events that unfolded between the Corleonesi and the Palermo bosses have been covered in books, articles, and videos. At some point, I'll get into what took place as well, and I'll give my take on it. But today, I want to talk about a monumental meeting that took place after the Corleonesi was victorious in what became known as the Second War. In regard to this meeting, although what was discussed was of importance, more than that is what took place afterwards. All right, I'm on it. In the aftermath of the Corleonesi decimating the Palermo bosses, beginning with Stefano Bontante and Salvatore Inzerillo, and after the Inzerillo family fled their homeland, earning them the moniker Gli Scappati, the runaways. A meeting took place between Salvatore Toto Riina and a former member of Sicilian Cosa Nostra, but by this time he was a member of the Gambino family, and that's Giovanni John Gambino. Supposedly he was advised not to go, as Toto Riina's track record of dealing with his enemies was well known. Nonetheless, John Gambino did travel from the United States to Sicily for a face-to-face with the Corleonesi boss. More importantly, a boss who had already killed family members and friends of his. It's previously been reported that the reason why he made this trip was that he wanted to know what was happening in Sicily. I'm going to disagree with that, and let me explain. All of Sicily, and Italy for that matter, learned how the Corleonesi took control over Palermo by annihilation. So the relatives of victims, especially in the United States, was very well aware of what took place. In regard to this meeting, I have two quick points. One, the meeting took place in Palermo, which at one time would have been considered enemy territory for Toto Riina. By this time, the Corleonesi had control of all of Sicily, including Palermo. Therefore, Toto Riina had no problem meeting there. As a matter of fact, he was often seen driving around the region in a white Mercedes. Secondly, we have to ask ourselves, how is it known what these two men discussed? I don't think we'll know for certain, especially since both of them are no longer alive. However, it's a fact that both of them discussed a portion of what they spoke about to other people, some of whom began cooperating in both countries. So that's how we know anything that was discussed at this meeting. According to what is known, John Gambino's objective was to have the remaining Inzerillos spared, all of whom were related to him. Let's not forget, Toto Riina once stated, not so much as a seed must be left of those Inzerillos. Even though he was known for his brutal personality, Toto Riina surprisingly agreed, but he did so with unwavering stipulations. The Inzerillo clan owed Toto Riina and the Corleonesi somewhere in the vicinity of $10 million in drug money. Salvatore Inzerillo mistakenly thought Toto Riina wouldn't dare kill him knowing he owed all that money. He was mistaken. After his death, and prior to this meeting with John Gambino, Santo Inzerillo, the brother of Salvatore, and Cologero Di Maggio, Salvatore's uncle, went to see Toto Riina. Santo brought a suitcase of money as a peace offering. But during the meeting, things got heated when Santo demanded to know why his brother was killed. As a result, both Santo and Di Maggio were strangled by Riina's men. After which, Toto Riina gladly grabbed that suitcase of money. Although he got some of the money back, he was dead set on getting revenge on the Inzerillos he felt fled the country with his money. Retrieving his money was obviously important to him, but the fact that a few Inzerillos slipped out of the country before he could get to them was unacceptable to him. So he told John Gambino the Inzerillos that were involved with taking his money had to be killed. And anyone who knew his reputation knew one thing. When it came to revenge, he always cashed that ticket. As for the remaining Inzerillos, he instructed John Gambino they must never return or step foot in Sicily again. So while he accomplished decimating part of their clan, he wanted to ensure that the rest remained in exile. Some accounts have this meeting taking place in 1983. I believe this to be absolutely inaccurate. Here's why. The Inzerillos that fled to America, the ones that Toto Riina wanted revenge on, were all killed by January of 1982. So if this meeting took place in 1983, there was no reason for him to bring any of these people up because they would have already been dead by this time. This meeting had to take place not long after Salvatore Inzerillo was killed and the rest of the Inzerillos fled to America in 1981. As far as what else was discussed during this meeting, there's little known and very little documentation on it. As far as Toto Riina's stipulations, or better yet, his demands, did John Gambino agree? He obviously did, because he was able to walk away with his life. Had he objected, he would have been dispatched like everybody else. The big question is, what did John Gambino do about these demands? There were two specific Inzerillos that Toto Riina wanted revenge on in America: Antonino and Pietro, who were the brothers of Salvatore Inzerillo, who was killed by the Corleonesi on May 10, 1981. Both of these Inzerillos were members of the Gambino Sicilian New Jersey faction. Antonino held the captain's position, and according to an FBI source, he was an important link between Sicily and the United States. In October of 1981, Antonino's wife Anna reported him missing. She just happened to be the sister of John, Joe, and Rosario Gambino. Think about that. As vicious as Toto Riina was, John Gambino was just as ruthless. Antonino wasn't only a relative, it was his sister's husband. After the disappearance of his brother, Pietro took on a more significant role within the Sicilian faction of the Gambino family. According to a U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee, Pietro was a soldier in the Gambino family extensively involved in the trafficking of heroin, and has been documented by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration as a Class 1 narcotics violator. In January of 1982, a New Jersey police officer received an anonymous call about a bomb in a car parked in the parking lot at the Hilton in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. A Cadillac was found parked in the parking lot that was registered to Erasmo Gambino, another member of the Gambino family Sicilian faction, who was partners with Pietro in a pizzeria. Pietro also owned a cafe on Elizabeth Street in Lower Manhattan's Little Italy. In the trunk of the Cadillac, the police found Pietro's frozen body. He was handcuffed behind his back, been shot several times, and had money stuffed in his mouth and his groin area. The money, by Sicilian standards, signified greed. This was obviously a request from Toto Riina. As to the specifics of who killed Antonino and Pietro Inzerillo, I'll get to that in another video. The one thing we know for certain about this meeting was that John Gambino gave his word and he kept it. Additionally, and we'll get to this as well, the two men built a business relationship in trafficking more heroin. But overall, what John Gambino did was sacrifice some Inzerillos to save others. There's more to come on the Cherry Hill Gambinos and Sicily, so stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, you could do that as well. And if you think it may interest friends and family, please share it, and thank you. Okay, till the next time. You can subscribe to the Sit Down News blog at sitdownnews.com, and I appreciate everyone who has subscribed. Thank you. Well, just another example in the mob you never knew about. If you would like to subscribe to this channel, you could do so down below. If you would like to subscribe to my other channel, Unlimited Substance Podcast, I'll add a link in the description to this video.